The Bamboo Project wholesaling video starts in 3, 2.
Welcome to the Bamboo Project YouTube channel. My name is Donivan Gray.
And my name is Melissa Burnett. We currently have over 300 videos on our channel of our Dr. Sebi inspired diet, travel vlogs, sports, music, clothing, podcast, beauty, and everything us. We live in New York City, and this is episode 19 of our virtual wholesaling series, where we give weekly updates on our journey to close our very first deal.
We started this series for people who want to get into wholesaling, who don't have any money, who don't have any mentors, and want the perspective of people just starting out. Today is March 18th, and this is last week's episode.
I feel like every week you ask me what I do.
I do.
And you know, like, I'll be doing stuff some weeks, but this is not one of those
like last
weeks.
week. Last week you did something.
Yeah, I'll be doing stuff some of those weeks, but this is not one. It's not one of those.
Oh,
so
okay.
I ain't doing nothing this week.
Okay. So I guess I will be going first. The last 2 weeks we talked about a property in Philadelphia. We were saying that it would be a really good deal to wholesale. We run the numbers on it. It came back at like 104% on the Dealinator. So we were like, all right, finally, we're going to get our first wholesale deal. We finally going to do it. Everything is going to go good, right? We were probably going to get like $5,000 or $7,000 of a wholesale fee. The money that we would have made is what the increase in price was. The property was listed at 110. All the offers they were getting were at 116. That $6,000 or $7,000 difference would have been our wholesale fee. So we're like, damn, if it sells for 116, 117, then we can't make any money on this. We can't really wholesale it. So that was the issue we were running into before. So we figured, okay, well, if we could make the $40K that the investor would be making on this deal, why not try and get it ourselves? So we said, okay, let's try and sit down and figure out what we have to do to buy this property ourselves. The first thing we realized we had to do was get a hard money loan. Now, there was one person in Philadelphia who I've talked to before, because in one of the previous episodes that we've had, I had tried to find out if a lender would lend on an old property I was trying to get to assign or wholesale, and I kind of built a relationship with them. So I had them as one of my options. I have a friend who flips property, so I said, hey, can I use one of your lenders, or at least talk to them and see what kind of rates they have? He was like, sure. As you guys may or may not know, if you listen to the podcast, it's AJ. He's in Atlanta, and he's fixing my credit. So he also knows people in Atlanta who can lend credit. All I gotta do right now is just compare all three of them, see what the rates are, see if I have enough money to actually do the deal, and then go forward from there. Anybody that's flipped a house or done wholesaling or wants to do wholesaling or wants to flip a house or anything like that, you pretty much heard that you have to have like a 15% down payment, maybe 20% if you want to wholesale, if you're going to flip the house and get a hard money loan, right? Same thing I thought. I thought if I have 50% of the purchase price, I'll be fine. If I have 20% of the purchase price, I'll be fine. Even if I might have 25%, which is still very, very high, I figured I would be fine, right? So I actually have 2 out of the 3 people that I talked to gave me a term sheet. The one in Atlanta I was still waiting to hear back from, so I don't really know what their terms are, but I'm gonna go over the terms for the both of these lenders. The reason being is because I feel as though somebody's been lying. I thought you had 15%, 20%, 25%. That's pretty much it. You're good. So the house costs $116,000. So I'm gonna do the math to figure out what the percentage would be for a down payment for me to buy the house and flip it, right? So let's see what we got here. If the house was on market for $110,000, right? So, and I talked to the agent, they said that they have offers at 115. So at 20, at 25, at 15%, it's $17,250. That's a down payment. If I come with $17,000, I'll be able to get the house. Now, people who don't know about wholesaling and flipping and things like that, hard money lenders say that the more that you deal with them, the more that you flip, the more experience you have, the better your rates will be. So it's unlikely I will probably be able to get either 90% of the property paid for. I probably have to put up 15%, I have to probably put up 20, 25%, something like that, right? So right now, 15% is $17,250. Now, 20% is going to be $23,000, right? And then I'm assuming that'd be another $6,000 or so if I was to actually go up to 25%. So that'll put us at $29,000. So I have to have either between $17,000 and $29,000 to flip the house. That's what I was told. That's what I thought, and I would be good to go, right? Well, I'm going to read you the term sheets that nobody, I mean, maybe they do. I don't see the videos. Everybody always says, hey, 50%, I'm good to go. They say, once you get this down payment, everything will be good. All right. So here are the actual numbers that I got from these people. So I'm going to put it on the screen, but I'm also read it for everybody else. So right now, here we go. They said that they would loan me 15%. This is the one that my friend told me about. They would loan me 20% of the purchase price of the property. 20% of 115 is $23,000, right? Now, you have to pay 9.9 interest rate on that. That means 10% of that amount you have to pay every single month. So if I put up $23,000, it's going to be around $87,000 that they are loaning me for the purchase of the house. So that's the first thing, is the 10% interest rate. Okay, so the acquisition price would be $116,000. Then you have, this is a term sheet from a hard money lender. 75% of LTV, so that's the loan to value, is the amount that they would give me, which in this case would be $87,000. I have to put down $29,000. So that means that, they actually did a 25% of the purchase price, not 20%. I think I said 20%. So that would be $75,000 is the rehab. They cover 100% of that. 100% of rehab, they cover all of that. I don't have to worry about putting a down payment for that. Now, let's go to the next line. We got rehab construction costs. They financed that. Total project would be $191,000. The total project would be the rehab plus purchase price, which is $116 plus $75,000. ARV, they had 60% of ARV would be of $270. So they're going to loan me 60% of the ARV in this case, which would be $162,000. That is the purchase, that's the down payment plus the rehab construction budget. This is the part that I feel like nobody really talks about, because I figured, okay, if I'm just putting down a down payment, I will be fine. Something called origination points. Now, I'm still not too sure what this means based off of the wording that it says here. This is supposed to be the amount of money that they charge you to create the loan for you, whether that be it's underwriting fees or whether it be lawyers, whatever fee they have to, whatever they need to do to make this loan happen for you. That's what they call origination fees. So I don't even know what this means, because this is a $4,000 fee. I don't know how this works. I'm not sure. I know they're supposed to charge you points on your loan. So maybe whatever amount, maybe they didn't tell me the percentage points they're going to charge me for this on here. Because it might be less than 3% or more than 2%. I don't know what the amount is. I just know there's a fee that nobody told me about when I was watching my YouTube videos. All right, nobody said this. Then you have the prepaid interest. I got to pay interest up front. It's about 2 months of interest.
2 months of interest.
It's about 2 months of interest up front, right? So that would be $700 you see up here, $724. That comes around up to what we got here, $1348, somewhere around that, right? Underwriting fee. Not really sure what that means. Has something to do with the person giving you the loan. $1,500 for that too, right? Then you got attorney fees, $1,430, right? Now, that's total closing costs. There's also a transfer fee. When you buy a house and you have to transfer from one person to another person, in Philadelphia, it's a 2% fee. It's 2.140%. That's like another $2,500 to $3,000, right? So just like that, we already up $11K. $11K just on those two things alone. So you gotta imagine me. I'm like, bro, I thought I had the money. So this person's charging me 25%. So that means my down payment for them has to be $29,000. Plus this $11,000 in estimated fees and costs plus transfer tax. So right now we at $40,000. Just like that, I'm thinking I could barely get by at 29. I'm like, damn, maybe I could still cover somehow. Borrow some money from my family. I can get to the 29, 32 maybe, right? It's just $40,000 just like that. Boom, right? So I'm like, oh my God. So now get this too. You also have to pay $250 every time you get a draw. A draw is what happens when you have to borrow money from the hard money lender. So for us, we need $75,000. They don't give you all the money at one time. You have to get it piece by piece. Every time you get a piece of it, they charge you for that. They charge you another draw fee to come out, inspect the property, make sure that everything you said is right, and then they go back and give you that money, right? They charge $250 for every time I do that. Now, depending on how many draws I do, that can be very expensive, because, and let's say it's $75,000. If I did 75 draws, which is a lot, which is really ridiculous. But that would be $250 times 75. Okay, that's crazy amount of money. I'm assuming I could probably do it maybe 7 times, maybe 8. If I take 10,000 out each time, then it'll be 250 times 7, 250 times 8. That's a little bit under, what is that? That's like $1,800, $1,700, something like that. On top of the fact that they said for them to even come and do the work, I have to put the money up first. So now I gotta come with another $10,000 just so I could put the money up for the contractor to do the work. Then the hard money lender will pay me back after I put the money up first. So now that 29 turned into 40, and now the 40 turned into 50. So I can't even start doing that housework until we cover that $50,000 off top. Just like that. I went from 29 to 50 to be able to fix this house up, right? So you can see how I'm like, this is real suspicious. I don't really know how people be doing this and not telling nobody about this. These are a lot of extra fees. And I always thought that a hard money lender was like a save or be end all be all. You get the money from them, you're good to go. I didn't know you need more money after the money that you have up front that they give you. I didn't know all of that, right? So that's that. So now I'm gonna keep going down this list. So as you can see, they have closing costs at $8,200, down payment of $29,000, and then they have total cash to close. So that's the first lender. Now this is the second one. The other lender told me that they charge a $1,500 deposit fee. They have a $495 processing fee. They said they also have an origination fee of 3% on the total loan amount if it's greater than $83,000, which is to be determined. And then they have closing costs estimated at $2,000 to $4,000. I don't even know what that means. How do you estimate closing costs? I thought closing costs were a certain thing, but y'all know, listen, I'm new. I don't even know. I thought closing costs was like a percentage, or it's a couple of things that you just know. Listen, I don't know what I thought it was, but it's not clearly here because it says estimated. How do you estimate it? Why are we estimating it? Why don't you know the price of closing costs? I don't know how this works. So that's why I'm like, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. They charge 11% interest rate, which is 2%. They charge 12% interest rate, which is 2% higher than the other people. I'm going over the one in Philadelphia. My friend said his would be 9.9. I'm like, okay, I'm not really feeling that. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go with my friend recommended me to them. I can do that. It's a higher down payment, but we'll figure. I think I can figure it out. So now I'm trying to figure out, okay, do I decide between the one that my friend recommended me, or do I go with the one that I have a relationship with from the last time I was going to get a loan? The only thing with them is I feel like they're a little bit thirsty for it. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing yet, because I haven't been in it. The one in Philadelphia. I feel like they may be a little bit thirsty, only because they reach out to me a couple of times, that kind of thing. So I just don't know. As a negotiator, that's usually a sign that you can get more out of it. So I'm like, all right. But I figure, you know what? It could be a learning experience. We could flip a house, and we haven't even wholesale a deal yet. So we're like, you know what? Let's see, how can we pull all our money together to try and flip this house? So I figured, okay, let's try and raise money from my family and friends to see who wants to lend us some money. So I called my mom, my sister. Melissa called her. You call your mother. We talked to some of our friends, some people who subscribe to us. We said, hey, if you want to put up $200-$300, you could put up that money, and we could just put it all together, and then you get your percentage out of the profit based on how much money you put into the deal. So that's where we were at before. We're like, okay, boom. How can we get all this money? Because right now we have about $22,000, and obviously, as you heard, we need about $40,000 to $50,000. So we're a little bit off. We're a little bit off on how much we need to actually get the deal completed. I called my mom and my sister, and they said, okay, get your presentation ready, and we'll see whether or not we can get this loan to you, right? So you know me, I love numbers. I love having the spreadsheet and things like that. So the whole day I'm putting it together, putting it on a spreadsheet. End of the day, we get on Zoom. I'm like, I bet. I'm about to show you all the numbers, right? Now here's something I think I learned from that interaction. I feel like if I'm going to sell to somebody, for them to invest in the company or in a flip, I should tell them what they want to hear. In my head, if I'm going to invest in a company, I want to know the numbers. Tell me the numbers first. If it's going to be a good deal, I want to know how much we're going to make, how long it's going to take, how you got to these numbers, what are the cons of doing this. That's what I want to know. But I feel like people who don't know real estate, who haven't been doing it for a long time and are going to invest money, I think that they want more of the story of it. They want more of the emotion of it. They want more of the, oh, we're gonna make $40,000. Oh my, okay, that's great. Oh, the house looks like that. Oh, that's great. Oh, you're gonna add new cabinets, you're gonna add new flooring, that looks really good. And then if they ask how much money are we gonna make after it, then you tell them, or you tell them why you got to that number and things like that. Me though, because I went into it thinking how I think, I led with the numbers first, and I don't think that was the best way to go about it, just because they're kind of like, okay, a bunch of numbers, all right, whatever, right? Now, because they're my family, they were more receptive to having that conversation with it just being numbers on the screen, as opposed to me showing them pictures of what it's going to look like in the future and things like that. So they said that they could put up, if you guys don't know, my sister has said she would put up $10,000 for the Airbnb when we moved to Atlanta. So I said, hey, can I use that $10,000 from there and use it for this? She was like, sure. So that brings our total to $32,000. With an extra $10K, think about this. With an extra $10K, we're still short $11K. Honestly, we're still short $21K, because we got to be at $50,000 because of the draws. So I'm like, okay, she gave us 10. We still need $21,000. So I'm like, hey, does anybody else want to put any money up? We still need some money. So my mom said, okay, I could do like 10, 15. She's like, you need it in cash? I'm like, yeah, I need it in cash. She's like, oh, I can't do it in cash. I can put it on my credit card. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I can see how we could do that, because with the Airbnb thing, you can swipe your card. It'd be easy to do it that way. For buying a house, I don't know if you could put $10,000 in a credit card towards the house. My friend flipped the house. I'm like, hey, is there any way I could like use a credit card to flip or put that down towards a down payment? He's like, yeah, sure. I'm like, what you mean? He was like, look, go on PayPal and you have to, he said, I'll do it for you. He said he'll just go on PayPal. He's done it for himself. He got $15K off his credit card the other day. And he was like, yo, I do it all the time for my business. I'm like, bet. So I went and looked into it, and now I'm able to get the credit card, the money off the credit card to use as a down payment for the house. Now, what I have to look more into is, does the credit card consider a cash advance? And if so, how much is the interest? Because if it is a cash advance, which my friend told me is not, then I should be good. So that's where we are right now with that. So I got $22,000 from Melissa and I. Mind you, the $22,000 from Melissa and I is all the money we have saved up. Like every account, every credit card, every single thing that we have, we put it all together and we came with $22,000. That's the money we're going to use for Airbnb. We figured, let's invest in ourselves and flip a house. My sister says she's going to put up $10K credit card. Because it's a credit card, she said, you know what, I could probably put up a little bit more. She might do $15K. I'm like, okay. My mom said that she could probably do $10K. So just like that, that's $25K. Plus our $22K, we have $47K. So we need to be at $50. I'm like, okay, what about my sister's boyfriend? Is he going to put any money up? So he says, I'll let you guys know next week. I'm like, all right, cool. Next week is fine. We actually got our offer accepted on the house. So we actually closed on the 31st of the house. And right now we're trying to scramble to get the down payment for the 31st. So they accepted our offer and we're like, all right, we have to, it's kind of a time crunch for him to send us the money, for my mom to get us the money, for my sister to get us the money, and to get all of that off the credit card. We're like, what do we need now for us to go through with this whole process? I had an inspection period of only 3 days because I had planned to wholesale the property originally. And I was like, you know what? If I get the property in the contract, I think it's a good deal. I'll wholesale it. And I only had the inspection there just because I felt like, in case, just to give me a little cushion room to see if it would be a good deal or not. So my agent actually said, hey, I know a contractor. I know a insurance person. I also know a inspector can go to the property for you. I'm like, all right, bet. They go to the property for me. There's another $425 for this. They have to go to the property and check it out. So they get over there, and mind you, it's like the second day or the third day of my inspection. They finally get over there. They check it out. They write me a report of like 45 pages. I'm trying to see. I want to put it on the screen. I probably will. 45 pages too much. I'll put a couple of pictures on the screen while I'm talking, and then I'll probably put it in the description at some point. I can't say when the video is posted, but I'll definitely put it in the description. So he goes through the property and he's pretty much giving me all the things I need to get fixed in the house. He's telling me that the pipe for the sewage has a hole in it. He's telling me the electrical is old, it needs to be replaced. There's a hole in the ceilings, a lot of water damage. There's a pipe leak on the outside of the building, which caused the stucco or the siding of the building to start falling off. There's cracks in the floor outside. Exterior needs work. Obviously, kitchen, bathroom need to be replaced, things like that. Now I can give this to my contractor. He can have a better idea of what's in there. And even before I even got that to him, I told him to go look at it. So he said that he could probably do it for the rehab budget of $75,000, which is the amount I budgeted with the dealinator. I'm like, okay, I think $75,000 would be a good enough renovation for us to get this project done. So he went first. Then I had the inspector go. I gave the report to the contractor. He said we could probably still do it for $75,000. If I open up the floors and I see that there's no issues, we could definitely do it for under $75,000. However, if I open up the floors and I see that there's some problem with the floor or the second floor, it might go over $75,000. He wants to replace all the systems, and that would run me like $120,000. That's gonna put us way over budget for the property. So I'm like, okay, how can we keep this within the $75,000 range? He said, okay, I would have to replace the things that are broken, or repair the things that are broken and not replace the whole system. I'm like, okay, let's try and do that and still have some nice finishes on the deal. I have a friend of the family who's a contractor. So I decided that I was going to talk to him about what I showed my contractor in Philadelphia and see kind of what he feels about it and what he feels like the numbers are, if the numbers work. He said that what I need to do is to get a scope of work from the contractor that lists all the things that I need done for the property. I actually also need that for the hard money lender because they said that that's what they need for the appraisal to see whether or not that the ARV will actually be the 270 that I think it's going to be. So the house is 116, the purchase price is 116, the rehab is 75, and I believe that the ARV is 270. So he said, okay, you should get a scope of work from him. I'm like, I could do that. And it also helps, like I said a couple seconds ago, that's the same thing that the hard money lender wants. Now, he seemed kind of apprehensive about giving me that. I'm not really sure why he felt like that, but I felt like it should have been something simpler to do. Maybe he just doesn't do his work like that. So at this point, we had closed, or we got the offer accepted on, I think, the 13th, which was last week. And we are now probably, it was the 15th, I think. And I still have not put any EMD money up. As you guys know, I do not want to put up any EMD at all. So we were able to get a contractor to look at it. I was able to get an inspector, which I had to pay for, which is $500 to look at it. I was able to get it under contract without an EMD. And all these things were pretty good. I wanted to make sure that all the numbers were completely accurate and good for the deal to go before I put up my EMD money. So I went over the numbers. I had Melissa. We both looked over the numbers. And as I said before, Melissa, she's not as emotionally attached to it before because it was wholesaling, but I feel like maybe now she's probably more attached because she's putting up a lot of her money to get the deal done. So we made sure all the numbers are right. We made sure everything was good. The only concerning thing I would say is that there's a block. All of the comps are across the street or across a particular street. So let's say that it's called Oxford Street. So on one side of Oxford, there are houses that sold for a lot of money, but all of the comps that I have cross Oxford Street. So the whole area is being gentrified. There are houses that sell for $800,000, $400,000, $300,000, whatever the case might be. But the specific comps that I use, which are on the same street, which is Dover Street, and are like 3.2, 3.1.5, are across Oxford. So I don't know whether or not it's going to affect it. I don't think it is because it's still an area that's being fixed and gentrified. So that's kind of the only thing that I feel like I saw that might have been a challenge to get over. Anything that you feel like you saw else other than that?
There was a property that was across like North 29th Street. There was a house over there that sold closer to the range that we're trying to get this house sold for. So it's just literally like the little box of like streets right where our property is that hasn't had anything that's sold for this price in the past like year. But that may not be that big of a deal because all these other comps are not that far away.
Yeah, all of the comps are within 3 blocks, and the comp that we have, there's actually a comp that's next door to ours, which is listed for 210, right? And it's been on the market for a while. I think it's been on the market for a while. So,
but it doesn't look like the best rehab. So, yeah. And then I don't know, So you've heard us say before that like everything depends on how the person rehabs it, the amount of ARV that they're gonna get. So to be the people that's flipping the house, like I'm very interested to see how much $75,000 or $85,000 could like take a house. And I think once we have this experience, it'll make it easier for us once we wholesale to other people, because we will know exactly, being able to like pick our deals, the deals that we think are good deals. It'll probably help us to give a more accurate rehab amount, just because, you know, we'll see firsthand how much materials cost, how much labor costs, how much it costs to take down a tree, or, you know, put new circuits in the breaker, or, you know, whatever. I don't even know what I'm saying. That's things of that nature. So
yeah, and I think that the buyers thing, I think, is really important too, talking to other buyers, because we'll know more language to use. And another thing that I think is important is that the fact that we have skin in the game of doing it, as far as, okay, we don't want to have the house not sell for what we want to sell for. So it's concerning that next door a house is $210,000. Now, as a wholesaler, people look at it like, oh, what the fuck it, this house is all over the place, that sell for a lot of money. And that's cool, because all you're doing is signing the contract. But now that we are investors who are actually purchasing a property, we like, damn, that house next door is $210. Why that sold for $210? What's up with that? I don't know.
But we were looking at for that house though, it didn't seem like it was a very good flip.
Right.
So that's why I'm like, fuck, I hope $75,000 is enough to make it look better than that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So that's kind of where we are right now. That house sold is on market for $210. Still needs work, in my opinion. It's like a really light rehab, and then there's a lot of new construction in the area, so it's promising. And also, the contractor told me that it will be about 4 to 5 months to finish the whole project, and then I'm estimated from my numbers it might take 3 months to 4 months to flip it, to sell it. That's what I've seen so far. So it could sell before that or after that, but that's kind of what I have it at. I'm saying about a year maybe for the whole flip at the worst case scenario. So that's kind of where we are with that. Now, as I said earlier, I feel like the lender was a little bit thirsty. So he called me back like, hey man, we haven't talked in a while. What's going on? I'm like, yeah, you know, I found another lender with better offers. You know, they had better terms. He was like, what was the terms? So now I'm on the phone negotiating with the guy. Like, listen, the other person told me they got 9.9%. He's like, look, we can't do 9.9%. You know, it's your first time flipping it. You haven't flipped a house before. Maybe we could come down from 12 to 11, but we can't do 9.9. I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, we still have to think about it and still see. Like, all right, what else they got? You know, what else they offering you? I'm like, look, this is a down payment amount. He was like, well, I could call my boss right now, see if they can lower the down payment for you. I was like, got him. I'm like, listen, if you could do that, listen, call him right now, get a lower down payment. So he called, he was able to get the down payment lowered about $6,000. So instead of the initial down payment that we have to put for the house, which would be $40,000, it's now like $34,000. That's a lot easier for us to get. If you listen to the podcast, you will know that I might be getting another $17,000 magically. It's crazy. I'm telling you, unemployment is like, it's crazy, because I was supposed to get unemployment before, and I just stopped, I guess, a benefiting, whatever they call certifying the benefits, and so now the back pay is supposed to come. So all the money I would have gotten before, I'm supposed to get right now at this amount, at this time exactly, which is crazy to me. So I might take that money and put that as the extra money for the down payment. And the net profit we're looking at right now is about $40K. I think in my heart of hearts, I believe that the house will sell for more than $270. In my heart of hearts, which would mean that we could make more than $40,000 on a flip. If I subtract the amount of money that my sister, my mom invested, and it might be less because we're putting up more money. So I'm happy about that. So we have decided that, as you heard, we are 100% going through with this deal to flip it. Right now we are about 95% of the way there. We will have the money and it close on the 31st. We're probably gonna put up a video or a vlog of us going there, because we have never seen the property before, never been there, never seen anything. I don't even know what it looks like, nothing. So we're gonna go there probably the day before, just to go get some video footage of it, and you know, check it out. We're investors. We're flippers now. So I still want to make money wholesaling. Like I just because I'm flipping a house does not mean I don't want to make money wholesaling. So what my plan right now is, it's to use the relationship I have with the agent, not of this property, not that I use for this property, but the one of that property. He sounds black. I'm black. He's from Philly. Listen, I can hear the lingo when we talk. I'm like, bro, I'm gonna call him and say, listen, now that I have credibility as a buyer, I'm not gonna say this part to him, I'm telling this to you guys, but now that I have credibility as a buyer, I'm gonna say, look, I need to build some more capital to buy more houses. I'm thinking about wholesaling over here in Philadelphia. Can you help me? I think if I can do that and he can actually help me, that opens up the door for me to get more wholesale deal, at least get a wholesale deal and build on top of that, because we're spending all of our money on this property. We're gonna be strapped for cash. So it's like, we, other than unemployment, we need to still have and make money between now and then. So that's what we're working on right now. You will see pictures of the house. You will see video of the house. It's going to be another series. We're going to do it every 2 weeks. We'll have, flipping series for beginners or something like that. Something that everything we learned in the process we'll put up here.
It's probably going to be on Tuesdays.
Yeah, we're thinking about putting it on Tuesdays. And yeah, man, I think it's crazy that we end up in a situation when this was not planned. We still haven't even wholesaled the house yet, and now we're gonna flip one, which is insane. And listen, hashtag Baby Party 2021.
Yeah, catch us when we closing on our house, our first house.
Yeah, that will be the 31st or 30th. Well, we are going over there. So, last thing is, how do you feel about this whole situation? What is your final thoughts on us flipping a house?
I feel good about it. At first, I was very nervous, anxious about it because Donivan, as y'all saw, he be fudging numbers. So, I looked over it myself. I think it's funny because he did that numbers thing to me too, where he just told me, he's like, all right, look at the numbers, look at the comps and blah blah blah. And I'm looking, I'm okay, renovation, blah blah blah. But what you have to do with Donivan is you make sure you cover all your bases. Cause I forgot to ask him about the pictures. So I already gave him the A-OK when to start the process and everything like that. But I never actually saw the pictures of the property. So then I saw the pictures of the property. I'm like, oh no, this is gonna be $75,000. But we do have a little bit of room to go up if renovations do end up being more than 75. After hearing what the inspector had to say, after hearing what Donovan's family friend had to say, after hearing what the contractor Thomas had to say, and for the fact that our house is 1,080 square feet, which is very small.
1050.
Yeah. 1050. So that makes me feel better because it's probably not going to need as much in renovations to make it look good just because it's smaller. So I feel pretty confident about going into this flip.
So that's how you feel? Doing the thing.
Because I'm like, do I feel like that? Do I feel pretty confident? I feel like going into this flip. So like I said, hashtag Baby Party 2021, you know the vibes. And with that being said, Bamboo Project out.